once you start using that and it understands your voice and your thing, and then
it can really elevate your
but pretty cool.
Yeah, that is good.
And where? It's Sonoma?
Sonoma Mission Inn.
The Mission Inn. No, my cousin's got married.
Be nice to sit at the pool all day Saturday, but be on PO4 in the dirt.
I'm like, that's it's a typical Glyffer weekend though.
Yeah.
Back and forth, a lot of driving. Hopefully, it's no traffic delay or anything.
Yeah. Palmer bump the wedding out a little bit. Earn extra innings.
Yeah. Like, I'm coming back, leave my girl open.
Old Ronnie, if I tell her just go, 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 she got to score.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good go.
That's right.
The game goes fast.
Okay, I'm gonna hit record.
Okay.
Recording.
Are we all set up then? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and call us to order on May 14th at 7 o'clock. I just want a quick roll call. All directors are present, but for the exception of Vice Chair Bonato with the excused absence. So can we go ahead and Director Vincent, do you want to lead us in the pledge tonight?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's see, at this time, I wanted to open it up for public comment, and it's an opportunity for the public to comment on anything that's not on our agenda, but within our purview. I don't know if we have any public
We
comment.
do not have any public comment.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment at this time and then move on to the reports and presentations. So.
Great, thank you. I have a written report in your packet, and a couple of things I wanted to add. Just a reminder, I put it in the report, but we have our anniversary party for 75 years, 75th anniversary party on June 18th. Please RSVP so we know you are attending. If you some reason can't get the link to work, just let me know. We'd like to know who you are, that you're coming. Also, feel free to send that link to anybody else that you know of, anybody in the community. We already have about 51 people who have said that they're coming from various levels in the community, so very excited about that. So it should be a wonderful evening. I also just wanted to highlight that we had our second annual Pups in the Park and on Saturday, and it was fantastic. It was really well attended, and so that was great. There was kind of shifted it a little bit to kind of use the same layout as Blues and Brews, to where we utilize more shade for the event, especially for the rescue dogs and the adoption groups that came out. And so it was really funny. So one of Julie McCoy is Realty is one of our major sponsors, and so staff proposed an idea to her to get some more engagement and people coming to her booth, and she and Sean jumped right in, and so they did paintings with your pup, and so they had a canvas and they put different colors on it, and then they put it in a bag, ziplocked it, and put either whipped cream or peanut butter, and the dogs licked it clean. And then they created these things. And so I was at the farmer's market before I came over here, and I was walking, and people were walking their dogs and their paintings, and they were all very excited about it. And so it was really, I want to shout out to Jen and her staff for thinking of a way to kind of get people to our sponsor booths and really engaged in the event. So, and thanks to Julie and Sean for just running with it. And they had these really cute t-shirts that said, since they're realtors, that said your dog needs a new backyard.
Yeah.
Her dog called and said he needs a new backyard or something like that. It was super cute. So they did a great job. And then also highlighting in special events, they've really been working on building their volunteer program. They have a really good core. They have about a list of 49 community members, and they consistently get about 10 to 15 volunteers that aren't staff members and aren't board members to come and volunteer at the events that are just random, community members, not affiliated necessarily with any particular group. So, so that's been great for them to do that. That's been a big help. So, with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? No questions, but I mean, a comment. I also saw the teen council members that are kind of helping out, and that's kind of a consistent feature. And I'm really appreciative of the contributions they provide as well at the Parks in the Park. So
They did.
okay, well, if no other comments, and let's go ahead and move on to the consent calendar where we can kind of pass all these with one motion unless someone would want to, pull any item in particular. We have a number of resolutions and the warrants to approve, so.
Can I request to pull consent items 5.3 and 5.6?
Sure, we can do those. So we'll pull the items 5.3 and 5.6. And we can entertain a motion, I guess, on the remainder of the consent calendar.
I'll move items 5.1, 5.2, 5.4, 5.5.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With items 5.2 and 5.6.
Agreed.
Oh, it's 5.3 and 5.6.
I would like to request that use of given proximity to one of those properties listed in those resolution.
Okay. With that recusal, I guess, does that mean you necessarily have to leave?
No.
It's just recused from the, okay.
Yeah.
So then I'll take a separate motion on those elements, 5.3, 5.6.
I'll move items 5.3 and 5.6.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so 5.3 and 5.6 pass. Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to item 6, which is, the action items for tonight. Given that Vice Chair Bernardo is unavailable, I was considering want to defer the discussion on action items 6.1 and 6.3 to a later date, in which we'd have all of the directors present. So with that consideration, I wanted to ask whether or not there would be any opposition to be having those addressed at a future meeting.
Which 6.1 and
6.1 and 6.3. Yeah, I mean.
I would have preferred
Yeah.
to discuss them tonight,
Mhm.
but
Would-
if we need to move them,
Can I ask you a question? I can understand 6.1. Is there a reason that 6.3 can't happen, or like that we can't just
It was.
Sure.
Oh, no, I mean, we can't,
I'm
I
fine.
can have a conversation, and I can put it on, I can do it tonight of what I have, and then we can talk about
talk about it again?
again,
We could
yes.
do a reprise.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, cause it's just a kind of an update report, it's cause she specifically asked for that, so she made a request to the chair to move those two items.
Oh, she
but-
asked it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I just didn't know.
And
Yeah.
partly because, 6.3 was at her request that we get an update on that, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I was more than willing to kind of do it twice, but
If she made the request, I'm fine. But it'll be on the next.
Yeah, we'll put it on 5/28, so,
Mhm.
I'm planning on being at a conference, but I'll come back for that meeting and then, cause I'm in Monterey, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do it on 5/28,
Oh, do that on 5/28?
yeah, we'll do them both on 5/28.
Okay.
We don't have to come.
I know, that was kind of my
Yeah,
consideration,
yeah.
and none of these, I mean, in my perspective, seem to be necessarily.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Time constraints, so.
Well,
We'll have can I give an update of what I have on
Sure,
6.3?
yeah, we go ahead
And
and start
then,
with that.
and then maybe at least just give the update of what I have and kind of where I'm at.
Sure.
And then we can then
Decide.
decide, give direction to me at that point in time when we should bring it back.
Sure.
I think
Okay.
that's fair.
go ahead and, if you wanna.
What do you want, you wanna take them out, you wanna take?
Take them out of order. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And if we'd like to, defer the discussion on 6.1, to a later date, but then we can go ahead and we'll just go sequentially then, if that's okay, Michelle, maybe we should.
Yeah, no, we can just go, yeah, we
6.2
can go 6.2.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the 6.2 then, the third quarter financials and update.
So attached is third quarter financial report. Lisa, you can, I'm gonna give the report, but Lisa's here to answer questions. So just a reminder, this is a snapshot in time from, the end of March 31st, 2026. And so this is kind of where we were at that time. Obviously, things have changed. We've in the last couple of months, but we're always kind of looking back. We are at the point, one of the items on your consent calendar was to transfer some money, out of those funds into the general fund, so that they can be reflected, because they're reflected currently in the general fund. But we're plugging along, and at the third quarter, we're kind of meeting our expenses. We're cautiously optimistic about the county and the county taxes. We're, they usually post an update, kind of a true up in mid-May, so we haven't received that yet. So hopefully we'll get that by next week, and then another one in June with the unsecured tax. So we're hoping that we will, that we'll get what we're anticipating. But the good thing is that our revenues for the programs that happened April 1st through the end of June, and rentals is looking really good. So we look like we're going to kind of balance that out as far as that goes. So we're at the point where we're kind of at the tail end of the fiscal year. There is the capital projects fund. We had about we had 1.755 that we have designated for capital. As Lisa's we've kind of gone through all of this. All of our capital was commingled with the general fund, and so it's kind of all one big fund right now. So what Lisa did was the board approved that capital, the capital project. So we transferred that basically out into the capital fund for this year. And so we're going to come back. We're going to talk to the finance committee about the capital fund specifically and kind of how we're going to do that moving forward. So that's kind of where we're at on that. We're kind of bumping along. The senior club fund is there's about 280, or will be about 298,000. We're getting a transfer from the East Bay Community Foundation, and the senior club the senior advisory committee is talking about how to use some of their funds, and we're making a request to them to bring some of those funds back into the general fund to support the senior programs. But I'll take any questions. This is really just a review at this point in time. We have a budget and finance committee meeting on Tuesday where we'll discuss the 27 fiscal year 27 budget amendments, as well as the capital budget kind of moving forward. So but with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
Really, can you again, the property tax thing is is what I'm trying to figure out, and maybe it's just, linguistics here, but it's like, will not be fully realized by the end of the fiscal year by up to 600,000. Does that mean that we'll receive that at another time? Or
no, basically the estimate that we have, Lisa's looking at kind of what has come in to this point, and based on previous years, we should get about the same amount, but this is Lisa's first year going through the county, and we're not, through the fund cycle, so she's not confident that we're going to make that up. And so that means basically we're gonna come under our budgeted estimate is what we're anticipating, so.
By up to 600,000.
But it doesn't include, like, the unsecured property tax is always kind of the wild card. One of the things that Lisa and I are looking at that other agencies do to kind of get a little better handle on the county is getting a contractor, HDL, to give us some projections. We're not necessarily 100% confident in, at a staff level of trying to figure out what it is that we should be getting from the county. And then HDL can also go back, and if there's anything that has been not correctly formulated for us, then they can do some recovery as well. So, but yeah, so that's, so.
And that was gonna be, my question as well. I mean, it looked like there were tactics here in terms of transfers that, we may opt to make if, there is a shortfall.
Right.
So it's not as if
Yeah.
those are necessarily
Right.
set to
Yeah.
happen. It's just in the event that we need to.
Yeah, when we get to the year end, we may be, but we wanted to bring that to your attention in case we need to. So.
And the only other question I had was with regards to the senior fund. I know that there had been the transfer from the East Bay Community Foundation to the senior fund. And I think that was intended to be, specifically for use with the senior. It seemed like the transfer was just the amount that was excluding that portion, perhaps that was.
Excluding what portion?
Excluding the 80,000 or whatever it was that.
No, so the way that we transferred all but 15% of it is what we're transferring, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, I wanted to make sure, because it seemed like that was sort of one of the conditions is that balance be used for.
Seniors, which is why it's in the senior club fund.
Yeah.
So, and so we have, in addition to those funds, annually, the senior club, it gets the membership dues, and so those monies go into their fund as well.
Right, the senior fund is a strictly restricted revenue. It cannot be used for any general funds operations. It's just strictly for the senior club. However, because the actual expenditures for the senior from actually incurred in a general fund, the advisory committee can approve to move restricted funds from senior fund to cover the expenditures actually incurred in a general fund. But per policy, per current regulations, it has to be approved by the senior advisory committee first before the board's final approval.
Gotcha.
And we can go in and actually move that.
Right.
Yeah, and we're going to the senior club is having that conversation, their first meeting in June. So.
Okay, and by that time, we may have better insights as to what we can expect from the county revenues from tax.
From the county revenues I can show right now, the 600,000 will not materialize. It's highly unlikely. I will be surprised if it will come in. Most likely it's not going to come.
Okay. Other questions?
So one question on is the athletics. Are they missing their revenue?
Yeah, they budgeted $83,000 in tennis revenue. So they budgeted $83,000 in tennis revenue, but the tennis instructor hasn't provided that as many classes and camps as they thought. They went down an instructor and then one hasn't. So yes, so they are not bringing in as much revenue as they anticipated. So.
That's a shame.
It is. It is. So, and hopefully, their budget, reflects right now, they have about $300,000 left. So hopefully they're gonna make some of that up. Is that, because that revenue is revenue that you budget for, and then we take a percentage and the instructor gets a percentage, so it should balance out somewhat, so.
That's the only question I have.
Just one follow-up question with regards to, bringing in an independent consultant to kind of help review that. Would that be, something that perhaps the budget committee would?
I'm finalizing the draft budget, and I'm planning on making that recommendation. Unfortunately, they basically start their contracts in July, and then they do their reporting in February, is what I read in the proposal. So, but in talking to the cities and other special districts, they're all using HDL to get their their projections, and then we can be a little bit more confident in the numbers, I think. So.
Yeah, and I am kind of interested in the ability to recover some of the things that maybe we weren't provided, previously, if they do discover, shortfalls. So. Okay, well, unless there's any other questions, any other comments, with regards to this item?
No, I think this is a good synopsis of what happened through March 31st, and as our GM indicated, we'll be having a budget finance meeting on Tuesday morning.
Sounds delightful.
Fine.
It was on Monday, we moved it to Tuesday, much happier. I know you're not.
Okay, well, thanks, thank you for that report, and then I guess we can go ahead and close item 6.2. And if you want to just give us a synopsis on item.
Yeah, I'll just talk about 6.3. So, thanks, Lisa. So,
Thank you.
so I've been working on a number of things. So obviously the highest priority coming out of the retreat was looking at our priority projects and trying to find funding options for that, right? So I've been having some conversations with some consultants and trying to figure out, kind of what is the best timing to go out. And so the couple that I've talked to have told me that we kind of want to wait until see how the June 2nd election goes. So the June 2nd election has some local tax measures that are 2/3. They're all school district measures. All three of them are in our area. Lafayette, school funding, Moraga, and Walnut Creek, they all have parcel taxes that are 2/3. And then there's a couple of bond measures, 3 bond measures that are requiring 55%. I think the question is there, what's the economically, are people going to be supporting this or not? And so, the 55% I don't think is as good of a measurement for us, because, we could get 55% if the proposition previously had passed, but 2/3 is a little higher. And so right now I'm kind of I'm looking at seeing what that is going. I'm in the process of having discussions with some community groups. We're developing some collateral that hopefully we're gonna be showing here at tabling and community groups. I went to the PHBA meeting on Tuesday night and had a conversation with them. I'm trying to really get some people excited, because that's been one of my biggest challenges, is that. But I am gonna come back to the board and talk about potential polling. So I think we need some polling in June and July. If we do want to do a bond measure in August, in November, then it would be August 7th. I have also looked at some special elections. And it's interesting. So San Ramon Valley Unified School District, they had in May 2024, they had a 2/3 election that was defeated in May of 2024. They only got 61%. But then in November on the regular election, it passed with 73%. The same thing happened with Acalanes High School District. It was defeated in May of 2025, and they're considering going in November of 2026. Every political consultant I've talked to has told me not to go in a special election. But, we obviously can, do polling and try to figure out if that's best for us.
Mhm.
The biggest complaint for at least voters has been the special election costs so much that that people have used that as a talking point. Whether that's true or not, that's just kind of what I'm hearing. We have a couple of issues, that are concerning the current status of the economy, the cost of the special election, and then volunteers and investing community members to get the word out. And so, so that's kind of the biggest thing right now. Those are kind of the thoughts and the things, feelers I'm putting out, people I'm talking to, a couple of consultants. I haven't engaged in it with any consultants yet because I haven't wanted to incur that cost at this point in time. But I'd like to hear from the board if, kind of moving towards a November election is what you're interested in, or if you're really truly committed to doing a special election. According to the clerk controller's office, we can basically set a special election anytime we want. Clerk's office. But it's definitely one of those things that it's going to cost us quite a bit of money to do that. So, but.
Well, that is a good amount of information to digest. It is something I want to have more of a dialogue around. But, in the interest of making sure that everybody's in attendance, I wonder if we take a moment to kind of think through that and be prepared and have this item on our next meeting. And I don't know necessarily if it's needed to have you call in remotely, for that during our May 28th meeting, but it seems like the primary is after June 2nd. So maybe if we had it, as a part of our discussion at the June 11th.
Yeah, I mean, June 11th would be helpful, but I mean, I really would like to get some initial feedback. Just not kind of where I'm headed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Is there a time for, just as there is, you gotta have it by August 15th for November
Right,
5th or.
88 days ahead of.
88 days. So if we want to do a special election, say in September, it would have to be 88 days since late, so September, August,
Backtracking.
July,
Yeah.
I mean, we're back in.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just trying to think, if we push this, well, whenever that June meeting is.
If we
approve, because here, and the reason I mean, originally when we talked about this, it was, we were gonna do this in the spring. We talked about it at the retreat, we were talking about looking in the springtime as a possible.
Oh, I don't remember that,
It was
but
like April, but because that intrigued me, because it was like this, I thought we were gonna roll right away, and even then it was August. I think it is important to point out, and I'm sure that board member Bernardo would bring this up as well, and so I don't want to get too deep in a conversation that I know she's going to want to be a part of. But the last bond measure, the only bond measure I believe that we've passed as a Reg and Park district, was August 2009. Arguably the worst economy in the last 50 years. And so to me, I'm like, I got to hear from a consultant or something that can tell me why one in 2009 and the depths of the Great Recession was able to pass at 72%, but yet everyone's petrified of going, that's the impediment.
because there was a senior center is what I'm told.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
Because there was a senior center specific for the seniors.
But your explanation for that was because of the economy
Right.
was one of the things. It wasn't that
Currently.
there was no mention that the senior
Right.
projects weren't on there. I think we'd all agree. I'd agree that that was the reason that one passed so overwhelmingly, is because it built a new senior center. But I think that's the challenge to me, is how do we, incorporate the whole community into a bond measure? And that's what I was hoping we were going to get into that conversation about, is how do we dial this thing down so it hits all what were the issues that the voters had issues with the 19 per $1,000 assessed value? Was that the hot button issue? If we got that to 12, what does that do? If we was it the overall number, with 55 million, 75 versus 55? To me, those are the things that we work within. And then also, what from the polling from the last one, what were the items that maybe we didn't emphasize that may, you know, affect seniors and a larger amount of the, you know, population that better. To me, it just seems that based on historical information, a special election would be our best bet. I totally agree with it. I think there's things against it and things and for it. And the same things the board back in, you know, 2009, when they voted to put this on, you know, had these same conversations. So I feel like we're not rewriting history here. We're looking at doing something very similar. But to me, the length of time that it's taken us to get to here is forcing our hand into a November. And then it's also, what are we spending, you know, 50 or 80 on a general and 200 on a special, or is it, I mean, that's the other thing I don't know, like, what's the cost? Cause yeah, I mean, that is but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, those costs change every time, and you know, and I'm like, and when I ask, and you know, I was told, you know, well, it can be anywhere from 250. Last time I asked, it was 250 to, you know, 400,000. It just, you know, when you go by yourself, you bear all of the costs, right? And so, you know, so for Ocalon or for San Ramon Valley Unified School District, they're bigger than us, but their cost was $1 million for their, you know, for their special election. You know, we do have an election in November. We have board members who are up, so you know, so if we have an election, then we're paying for that anyways, and so we're sharing that. But
yeah, but to me, I mean, I guess it is a frustration is that it even if we had this discussion at the next meeting, I don't think we're anywhere near where we'd want to be in order to even place it on a special election. And that's frustrating to me because I think that may have been the best option. You know, I don't know. So I'm not sold on November, you know, as rather than doing a special
In
sometime,
March.
you know, like another time. But we got to have that conversation. And, you know, like I get my point with that. My frustration aside, I don't think it makes sense for you to come back from Monterey on March. But I don't think even if we have that discussion at our next meeting that we're going to be anywhere near. We're not going to shotgun this thing. You know, we did that once. You know, I don't want to do that again. But you know,
But my question to you, Bobby, specifically is, you know, what information is it that you need? So I've been hearing different things from different board members, right? So I hear one board member who doesn't want to do polling and is dead set against it. I can't answer your questions as to why the voters didn't vote for it without asking that question and having someone who can actually go out and, you know, get the polling for that. I mean, anecdotally, I can, you know, say, hey, this is what we heard, but, you know, is that true? Is it accurate? So, you know, so I want to be able to answer your questions. I'm going to be able to have the information. So what information is it that you need?
well, I think I'm not a campaign consultant. I'm not an expert. I don't know what those questions are. And I think absent having a campaign consultant, whether it's somebody that ultimately gets used by a committee that is formed at some point, or whether it's just an independent person that we pay as a district to give us input on what questions we should be asking. That's who I want to hear from. You know, and hear what questions we should be asking. I want to hear their input directly on why they think special election versus, you know, general election or primary election. I don't know those answers. Like that's and neither do you. I mean, I'm none of us are campaign experts. I mean, ironically, we're probably more than most, and I still don't know those questions, you know, to ask. And I think it's just a general frustration that we've come so damn close the last couple times, and that, you know, we definitely have a need, and I think we've shown fiscal response. I mean, all the things. You know, I think we've earned the trust, we've done the work, and so I just want to get this right, and I want to get these projects built, you know, so that we can start, you know, benefiting from them financially as a district, and so that the members of the community can benefit from them. And I don't know if a special election versus a general election, but it is frustrating when the only one, you know, we ever passed was a special election in the midst of the worst economy. Yeah, it had a senior center, and maybe that, you know, outweighs the other, but We're not in the economy that we were back then.
Yeah.
Much better now, even though it's not spectacular. And it's, I think I'd want to hear from somebody that does this.
Yeah, I sense your, frustration, with, having been so close and, just falling short. I think, I have some hesitation about, our ability to, separate, ourselves from all the other things that are happening. And there's a lot of economic uncertainty too. I think, in the time in which we're looking to maybe go for this, a lot of people are concerned about inflation and other issues that we can't necessarily control. I mean, I know we have needs, but I mean, if you consider, the current economic and political climate, it seems as though it might be a tough sell just because of everything else that's happening externally, that we just can't control. That's my, concern. I think, we've settled on, what our priorities are, and we feel like we're ready to launch at any time, but I think that's where consulting can help advise us as to what other things are being put out there for the voters to consider that might be competing with our interests. That's the concerns I have.
And again, I mean, all valid concerns, but I mean, I'm a rhetoric major, you're an engineer, like, I mean, it's like none of us are,
No,
this is like, I go back to when we were, this is, when we were doing the colors of the bathrooms at the senior center, and we were voting on that, we had a board that was tinkering with we had a design professional that was making a recommendation. We were tinkering with it. To me, that's like,
out of our,
yeah, I'm not an accountant, like Lisa comes up and gives input. I mean, that, it's, so to me, again, I could debate your rationale, but it's pointless because both of us
Neither
could
of
be
us,
right,
yeah.
I mean, or we both could be wrong, or both, but without knowing definitively, to me, it's just, it's just all of our different opinions.
but yeah.
I think one of the things that voters are looking for is more clarity on what is it that we're doing. I think we've talked about that before, about, more definition of what the actual projects are. Special versus general. I think this is the time between what's been happening between January and now. We haven't seen that before. We've got things happening that even though it's national politics and other kinds of things with the economy, it does affect people. And because there's so much social media, there's so much, I mean, you can't get up and not see headlines on what's happening. And whether it's true or not, that's an issue. So it's difficult when people are trying to pay for gas and groceries and figuring out, what's the cost of clothing for kids to go to school or whatever. And I think polling consultants are valuable, but I think what I have been hearing from them the last couple of just meetings is they're gonna say, well, you could do this and you could do this. They give us their data, and they are experts in that field. So we at least get more information to make a decision. Right now, I was looking at our ballot today just to wade through,
Candidate statements.
it's just absolutely crazy. But, there's one item on there that raises, I think it's sales tax or some kind of tax. And I thought, oh, great, so every time we turn around, there's an increase to something for some people. California, I guess the feds are saying they're not gonna, they're pulling the billions of dollars in Medicaid funding for California. Who knows how that will trickle down to people in various areas. But right now, I just don't know. I don't think I would do a general election, mainly because the size of the ballot and what happened with us last time, and we were at the
The
end.
very back page.
And reminding people, oh, well, don't forget, you have to go to the last page of the ballot, and there our bond measure was. It's, people are, I think, in a way tired of trying to figure out all these different things on the ballot. It's just
Voter fatigue, yeah.
voter fatigue. What's it gonna do for me? What's it gonna do for who's benefiting really? Who knows, until it's over. I'd like to see us get going. I think what's happened in the last 5 months in the US does trickle down to what happens here, just on this kind of thing, because it affects people in general, and they're gonna be looking at what is it gonna cost me? But I do support it, definitely. It's just how are we gonna get there? How are we gonna get there? And are we gonna get there really fast and do a special? I don't think I wanna do the general, even though it's cheaper. And do we kick it over and do something early in the spring?
Yeah.
Or late winter, whatever timing it is.
And then that's also a bit of my concern too, in terms of the cost that we would incur for a special election. Is, something that it would be difficult. I know right now, given our current budget situation, it's not, gonna be easy for us to be able to make the funds available to do something like that.
Yeah.
So it is a concern of mine that, we don't exactly even know what the cost will be, but we have to incur all those expenses up,
Yeah.
So. Go ahead.
Can I ask Michelle a question on I know the county is not, I don't know if they're not able to give a definitive number or a better number.
They're not willing to.
They're not willing to.
But they don't wanna give us a number and then have it be more when they have to print the ballots and send, and do all of that. It's also fairly new for them,
Specials?
no,
Oh,
the
just
new costs.
Costs, okay.
The costs have exploded.
Yeah.
And so that has, so that's been new, so I think they just weren't comfortable with that, but I keep trying to get better costs, and so, but. Yeah, and also trying to find a consultant who is like, yeah, sure, sign me up, but I wanna, it's not been easy, so.
I would say I'm not too concerned about the perception of the district moving forward with a special election, having it be a negative in terms of, the importance of what we need to ask the community for. I think, regardless if we do, general or special, I don't see that as being a detriment. It's just the actual cost could be something that would be difficult to swallow. But we've talked a lot. I want to.
I just sort of, I sort of hear what Bobby's saying. I sort of wish we had a little bit more information. I don't even know if we have a plan or a message, right? So when I debate, this day or that day or what, it's like, I don't even know what we're trying to pitch here. I was hoping that, the beginning part of the year, I think very similar would have been sort of steps to get to, okay, we have a better sense of where we want to go, what message you want to do, and then the strategy would come from that, or be born from that in some way. Because I'm hearing sort of more of the 2009, we were able to counter negative news and a negative economic situation with a message that was just spot on, right? And I don't know you have that. Yeah, so I can't get behind like, okay, we got a great message, let's go special election, or we got an okay message, let's do genocide. I mean, so I didn't know that, and I think our biggest enemy right now is just the calendar. Like you're saying, like we're gonna get forced, we want to do something or not do something, and we just don't have enough foundation to even get there. So in my mind, the calendar is like rolling around to a different, either, you know, an off year or a 2028 cycle. And so I think we're just gonna run out of time. And either we just going in with not a lot of information, it's kind of like what we did previously, or we just take our time and just really plan for something in a future date and not try to squeeze it into this particular calendar. We only got so many months.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think we're beyond a special prior to the general. So to me, it doesn't make, I mean, coming back from, I mean, we can do this in June.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna, I mean, I think it's important that we have whenever everybody's here. And have that discussion and hopefully have, I do think polling is important if you're taking a poll. I think it's important to make that decision. I think, Dr. Tran hit it on the head, the messaging too. I mean, at some level, there's gotta be a conversation about how we, what are our must haves, like, because I think, I think we've been able to show every time that it's been based on solid factual information and, like a positive financial situation for the district. And, we've been very transparent. We've, done everything that everybody has asked. But how do we, and again, I think that would probably be input that a consultant would, at least provide some. I just don't want to have that guy that we have, like every time,
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not using, not John.
But somebody,
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to a couple of them and no one's really, so I'm still on the hunt for someone who's willing to kind of take it on. I'm also looking at fiscal responsibility for it too, right? I mean, we're paying Larry $10,000 a month on retainer, so.
Sure.
So.
I think even if it's paying, if somebody will do it even for like whatever, to at least, like dive in. I mean, if it's, having a designated committee that, like meets a couple times over, even if it's just a month, to come up with some type of, or 2 months, to put that time into not talking about all the pre-work. I mean, I think Larry did a lot. There was a lot of work that went into kind of setting. I don't know that that's necessary, but I mean, definitely getting somebody in to at least, answer these questions. And like, hey, when, what do you think? What should we pull? What do you,
I will definitely, I mean, I've been trying to move in that direction, but.
Is there, kind of a situation in which, the limited pool of available consultants for this type of thing are unavailable, just given that this is a general election with a lot of.
Part of it was there's a special election going on right now.
Yeah.
And so, so a number of them were committed to, there's like 7 different bond measures, that's just on the school side. And then there's, the county tax and a couple of other things. So, and November's not gonna be any better. Bart's looking to put a, some
more,
yeah, there's gonna be more stuff in November, so.
But that's a question I have. Why are so many of these going right now? Like somebody told them that now is the time to go, like go on the primary. And that's what I'm just like, I'm flabbergasted as to why, like they, that would be, why do we go in November? Do we go in June? Do we go to special? I mean, those would be all the questions.
Yes.
And to your point, it's like every ballot change, something could happen next month, something will happen next month, there will be, every ballot's gonna be loaded from here on out, because we are that state that does ballot box planning, and, it just. Anyways, there's never gonna be, we thought that March 2020 was and then COVID, it's like. Anyway.
So there's 6 or 7 specials early June?
Early June, just for school bond, so there's 3 partial taxes for schools that require 2/3. And there's 3 school bonds that are 55%, but then there's I'm sure other things, I look specifically just at the ones that are with us. I didn't look at the county stuff.
Okay.
The county tax on this one, I didn't even look about anything about it.
I got community college.
Yeah, community college district, I have that, so community college district, I looked at Contra Costa as a whole, not just ours, so. I was trying to look at comparables as to, things we could watch for. But. Okay, I will continue for consultant.
Yeah.
And we'll plan on June 11th.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful if first in person, everybody to be here for that conversation, so.
Well, and the elections will have taken place. Those
That's
special.
Yeah.
true,
yeah,
and
they're-
we'll have a little bit of
We'll
a
have a
better
bit of intel on
perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and close that item 6.3, and we can move on to item 7 for the verbal report from the board members and opportunities at future dates, so. Or for committees, sorry.
We have a committee, I don't know how I didn't get on here, but you have a budget and finance committee meeting on Tuesday, so.
I think it's on there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's shown.
Okay.
Okay, and then board announcements and requests of staff. Levy. Go ahead, let's start with Dr. Vincent.
I did attend the 9th annual Celebrate Your Community event. And got to congratulate the Rec and Park awardees, and there was a lot of other people there who were recipients of various grants, so that was kind of nice to be at that event. It went well, but other than that, I don't have anything. See you in 2 weeks.
That's right. Yeah. Dr. Chen.
Yeah, just a few things. As I know, night markets restarted, went to their first one. Great to just see the Chipman Single Park just having a lot of usage now, and so it's nice to kind of see that take off again. Busy last weekend. TH Dolphins is ready to go with the tents. I was out there putting them up. We spent the first hour trying to figure out how to do it. Every year.
First couple are easy, then after that.
It's like, oh man, it's like how do you, so I actually filmed it. So now we have it on film, so that now we have a
Tutorial.
tutorial like how to put up tents for Pleasant Hill Dolphins. So we got that. And then that day was actually really busy. So I ran over, I wanted to catch echo drumming over at the library. I think that was sort of a great celebration for as I mentioned last time, and this month is NHPI month, and so just a number of different events highlighting contributions of the NHPI community. So that was a great just to watch. After that, I saw that the Pleasant Hill baseball fields were all being used. So I said, I'm just going to sit here for a couple hours and watch the bunch of the game. Just kudos to the crew for keeping those fields looking sharp. I mean, those are like the greenest fields ever. And then like looking across the street to, in the USD sort of that track, it's just night and day. And so kudos to the field crew of that. I just wanted to make a sort of an observation because I didn't know this happened. So I guess the tiny ones play on just the open field without, to put up the I guess a portable backstop. I didn't know they just use buckets for benches. It's very clever, but
a trick.
very, very clever. But I was sort of just thinking, why are we having the little kids sit on buckets? And is there something that we can do to make it a little bit more comfortable? Or maybe that's just a tradition. That's just the way
They keep their hands to themselves. They have their own.
But that was just fun to watch. But then running over here to participate in Pups in the Park and chat with folks, and then running across the street for the farmers market as well too. So just sort of noting that for a city our size, the number of things to do, that was just one day running around. I just wanted to, just see all those things. I think it's just fantastic, as it is a place to be. And I'm super happy that we are involved, and then just the whole city is involved as well, all the different events. So that's certainly great. it's actually, for me, I don't have any requests for staff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. If the, Ronnie still has her bucket from her
The
instructional year, yeah. It's twofold. They carry their stuff in it and then they put it down and they sit on it when they're batting, so they know the orders of when it keeps them.
It gives them an, yeah.
Keeps them, keeps them ordered, and they decorate them. Yeah, it's a cool way to do it. That's awesome that you picked that up, because that's something that I think has become synonymous with the instructional program. But yeah, we're in the middle of playoffs. So if you're out there any night, any week, this weekend's gonna be bananas. The softball American Rangers play at 11:15, the number 4 seed. So we'll see if we play the Angels, and they swing the bat pretty well. So that'll be a good game. But there's going to be games going all the way through. There's no games on Memorial Day weekend, but the championship Saturday is something fun to come out and watch. And that'll be May 30th. And then another really cool day is the following Saturday, June 6th, which is All-Star Saturday. And so you'll see all the kids in their uniforms playing with other teams. And if you want to come watch the instructional division, the softball instructional and baseball play at 8:30 and 11 on PO1 on the big dirt field, it's pretty fun. We announce their names and play the national anthem, and they get medals after the game. And it is one of the best days around. So if you're around, check that out. But yeah, I tell you, between soccer and softball and hoping to make it to swim at some point now that everything's wrapping up. Our older daughter's been there for a handful of practices. Ronnie, how many practices have you been to? Zero, that's right.
Oh, no.
She'll is super excited to jump in the pool and get in there. Right, Ron? No. Thank you.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the temperatures, climbing the way they are, it's nice.
I want to try this one.
Yeah. Well, as for me, I did happen to catch just the tail end of the Senior Live Well Expo. I was sort of taken aback at all of the resources that are available. I hadn't realized, and I started going through there and I was like, wow, there's just a lot of things that, we were able to offer as part of that expo. So I was like, things that I think can really help benefit our community. I'm not quite there yet. I am technically able to be considered a part of the senior crew. And then also I went to the Pups in the Park. I really enjoyed that revised sort of configuration of having all the adoption animals kind of in the shade to give them. And I like that also twofold in that it sort of generates a visibility element for our programs. I think, same with Blues and Brews, people who are just the casual passerby happen to look and say, oh, there's something happening at the park, and they wander in. So having it kind of along the street side, I think helps, give us more visibility for these events. And then, I also kind of felt like the, open configuration for Tinkers and Thinkers worked really well between the two facilities. I hadn't reported on it previously, but I did enjoy that, it expanded that area so that we could have more things outdoors, and, certain activities weren't too crowded, with people, so they could kind of mingle around. And with that, I also wanted to, indicate that I wanted to provide an appreciation for Stephanie Herman. I know, at the time there was, some changes in that position with the special events coordinator. I was a little concerned, bringing in somebody, right as we were getting ready to launch some of these main events, but seeing that she's got a couple of these under her belt now, and she just has a sort of this pleasant and calm demeanor that, kind of gives you the reassurances that everything's, taken care of. Just really appreciated, how well, those were orchestrated. And I know she's kind of been executing on, the programs that we've already established, but I'm also interested to see what sort of creative ideas she has for, other programs that she might want to introduce and try out. And I also wanted to sort of tag along with some appreciations. I was at the Celebrate Your Community event, in which we got to recognize Ansley Pierce for, the Oliver Holmes Award. I think, it's really neat to see how, from what I understand, she started with the district, as a teenager and had come back to work with the district. And I think there's other, examples of that, people who have been with the district for a very long time, starting out when they're young and kind of similar to say, Stephanie and Ansley, they take on other responsibilities and they move up. I just am really appreciative that the district provides those opportunities for people to level up and do different things. They're not just sort of stuck into, oh, you're the person that does this function. They have opportunities here at the district to do different things. And also, Michelle, for the kind words that you had, provided for her in recognition of her contributions. I think that even though it wasn't scripted, it's, things that you say that are from the heart, which are really genuine and endearing. And so I think, I appreciate that you kind of recognize people in that way. It seems to, provide this sort of culture of, the district that makes it a great place to work. So, and that's why I think some people have decided to come and have their entire careers with the district. So, with that, I just wanted to say, thank you to all the people. I know that there's also greater support staff for all of the people out there in terms of, being able to do these special events. So it's not as if anybody's, isolated. There's, great community in terms of helping, Stephanie in her role, Ansley to be able to level up. So appreciations, to the broader, staff that helped make that happen for these individuals. So with that, I'll go ahead and close the meeting tonight at 8 o'clock sharp. So.